The views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Everybody, welcome to this pre-recorded show. This is Wednesday, May 17th, my big sister's birthday, 2017. So today we are doing a pre-recorded show with Mr. Jimmy Davies of EveryBlackEvent. And EveryBlackEvent has spiraled into many different categories now. And Jimmy's going to tell us those that he's added on recently. He is in North Carolina and also an ambassador of the Fuller Gala event that is happening this Saturday through Monday. So that's like, what is that, May, the end of May? We'll get the correct dates in a second, but yes. So he's going to come on and talk to us about all of this information so that you all will be updated. And again, this is pre-recorded, so it will be on BIB Radio tomorrow, Thursday, the 17th. All right. And I am also joined by my co-host, Brother Robert 11X. Robert, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clearly. How are you this morning?
Doing great. And yourself?
Oh, I'm wonderful. It's good. Yeah, so we have been highlighting this Dudley Gala for the past year, off and on. The last person we did an interview with was Miss Denise Green, and she's so funny because she wasn't comfortable with doing the interview, so we did it twice, but she did an excellent job. She's a great speaker. You can tell she is being trained under Mr. Dudley to be one of the greatest entrepreneurs. And I know she will be at the event too, so I'm looking forward to seeing her there. But right now, what we're going to do is introduce Mr. Jimmy Davies so he can tell us about every Black event and every other thing that he's just created.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Robert. Good morning. Thanks for having me on your program again. I guess to start, and just interrupt me if you have any questions or anything at all. But to start, like I said, I started with EveryBlackEvent.com, and I was listing events, any events going on in the African American community. But my background is as a database developer. I've been in the computer field for decades. And so I didn't want to just stop there. I really created what I call the Every Black family of websites. And Every.Black is sort of the admin page for the Every Black family of websites. And what I mean by that is I want to create a series of websites that helps promote African American businesses, careers, organizations, and events, and using technology to do that, which is what I know well. So I'm just trying to use technology to help promote African Americans in these different aspects. So what I came up with was not only EveryBlackEvent.com, but I also have EveryBlackEntrepreneur.com. And Every Black Entrepreneur is a place where you can go and list your business to get more exposure on the internet. EveryBlackSpeaker.com is another one. If you're a speaker, you can go again and list yourself as a speaker and the topics you speak about. to get more speaking engagements. Every Black Returning Citizen is one that I'm really excited about. And that's actually a website for people coming out of the prison system so that they can go and find places to get help, support systems throughout the country. So if you're a reentry program, you can go on everyblackreturningscitizen.com and list your program, and people can find you. Every Black Educator is another one. But you get the point. It's like, so every.black is my brand, and I want to just continue this. So one thing that I did also is I realized that for every Black entrepreneur and speakers and educators and returning citizens and professionals that I have, I wanted to create a listing, a directory, if you will, of all of these people that have been signing up. I'm great on my phone. Signing up through my websites. And so I combined them all into a single directory, and I call it the Every Black Premier Directory. It's downloadable from any of my websites, and it's listing all of the people that have signed up so far. And then I'm distributing that, again, to give you more exposure for your business or for your organization or for your career. And I took the liberty to really take some time to really find the best images I could find, put in there. I gave every entry has a full page, so it's not just a listing, but every person in there has a complete full page to be listed in the directory. And I'm also working on the June issue right now. The first one was for May. It's already on the website, and I'm currently working on the June issue. In order to be in the directory, I just asked for you to join one of the websites. So just by joining one of the websites, it automatically will put you in the directory, the next issue, as long as you're an active member on the websites. Another thing, the service that I started providing simply because people kept asking me is, because my background is in computers, people kept asking me for databases or websites. And it dawned on me is that the people joining my websites needed these types of digital services, social media postings. So I started offering some of those things. But again, if you're a member of one of my websites, then you get a discount on these services, whether it's creating a web page for you or creating a database for you, creating social media packages so we can continue to put your information out there on the web. So that's kind of the basic premise behind my site. I want to be able to use my experience and knowledge that I've gained over decades being in the computer field to help promote other African-American businesses and organizations and careers, no matter what it might be.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick. So when you say, I have a few questions. When you say create a database, I just did a interview with the vertical response people where they help you to create, lists or email contacts for your clients. So what sort of database are you talking about? Is that the same thing?
Not exactly. I mean, those are databases. Mm-hmm. But the databases that I create or have experience in creating are much more in depth than list, or maybe a lot of people will use an Excel spreadsheet as a list, which is a database. Mm-hmm. But if you think of a database as something like, for example, the last large project that I worked on was for a medical clinic. It was for a surgeon, and they needed a database of all of their patients. But they were also tracking information like all the x-rays, all of the emails that came in. They wanted to know every time they had a contact with that patient, what it was, all the prescriptions. And you can't do that type of a thing in a basic Excel spreadsheet. Excel, and I don't want to get too technical, but Excel is basically what's called a flat file database. But you need what's called a relational database to keep track of all those things. And when you think about it, I mean, I get this question a lot, like, what's a database? If you think about it, everything we do is going into someone's database. If you book a flight on an airline, going anywhere, somebody had to create a database to keep track of all of the people on that plane, who's going to be flying the plane, what time is it leaving, when is it landing, from what city to what city. All of that information is in someone's database. You get your car worked on at a mechanic, at an auto shop. Every time you go back, they can look up your record to see all the things you've done in the past, what you had done, the charges, what dates you were there. That's a database. But it's a lot more involved than a basic Excel spreadsheet or a basic list. So I help companies create databases to track whatever it is they're doing. Another example of a database that I created was for a company that sold ornaments, all types of Christmas ornaments, and these highly detailed ornaments. But there was like 9 steps along the way in order to create a single ornament. So we had to track every ornament, and they had like about 500 different items that they were producing. Every particular item had to be tracked. Is it in production? Is it in, design stage? Is it in approval stage? Whatever it was. Again, you need something really more sophisticated than an Excel spreadsheet. Keep track of that information. So those are some kind of brief examples of databases that I worked on. But again, it's so more of a sophisticated tracking system for whatever it is you're doing.
Right. Well, that's definitely different than just lists, which is, what all these other services provide, like MailChimp, vertical response, constant contact. I mean, they do a little bit more, like as far as the email marketing, they help you put together whatever you need to put together. But your tracking system is definitely something people want to take note of, because if you are in any type of customer service industry, you definitely want to know what it is that's trending, what it is that your customers individually are purchasing. So I think that that's something different that you're providing, because I haven't heard anybody say, okay, well, I'm providing database information. I haven't heard a Black company say that. And as people are searching around the internet, of course, the first place a lot of people go is Fiverr, Fiverr.com. But there are still people that are privy to going toward a company if they know that they're Black. So how could we promote your business more, Jimmy? Because I don't really see it cycling around like I would like to. So how could we promote it more?
But you're absolutely right as far as the contact information. And that's a good example, because to really keep track of your customers and what you're selling, whatever it is, product or service, you want to be able to bring up a particular service and see how often is this service sold, and what's the, is it being sold in January versus July, and all kinds of data that reports you can get from that. As far as contact, probably the easiest way to go to every.black. There's no com at the end of it, just every and then .black, www.every.black. And I've got everything listed there, all to links to the other sites. If you click on the join button, it'll list all the other sites. Or my number is 919-265-8045. It's 919-265-8045. And then my email is Jimmy, Jimmy, @every.black. So I use every.black because that's kind of a generic to cover all of the Every Black websites, whether it's events,
that's a good one. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah. .black is a domain now, and so I thought that would be great to work with what I have.
Yes, I just shared it on Facebook. That's wonderful.
Okay,
Robert,
great.
did you have some questions? Go ahead.
No, I was just that .black is a domain that you're using now. How long has that been around?
I don't know exactly. I do know maybe like 5 years ago, maybe longer, 10 years ago, they came out with a lot more domains. They started making them available, and you'd be surprised what's out there. .name is another one if you want to get your own name. I don't know all of them because there's a lot of them now, but the .black just fit in perfectly with my Every Black website.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and you can probably go to like a GoDaddy.com and they'll list all the different domain extensions that are available now. I mean, there's like a lot of them now. .edu is something you usually hear about for schools, or .org for organizations, nonprofit, or .com for businesses, and .net.
Now, do you use GoDaddy?
Yeah, I use GoDaddy that's where I purchase my names, and you've got to purchase your names from someplace. But I purchase most of my domain names from GoDaddy. Now, that's not where I have my websites hosted, but that's where I purchased the name, to lock in the name. And actually what I did is, like I said, right now I've got about 10 websites up and running, every Black something, every Black educator, every Black speaker, every Black professional. But I'm sitting on probably another 100 that I'm holding on to, that once we get the Every Black brand really established, I want to continue to come out with other domain names, all with Every Black something. And I don't want to give away too much, but I will tell you this. For example, we were at a meeting with Fuller Dudley meeting. There's a good way to segment into that. And one of the boards was about to fall on top of Tony, who is the president of the Fuller and Dudley Foundation, one of the grease boards. And before it fell on his head, I grabbed it. So one of the other guys in the room, Joe White, he goes, there you are, my Every Black hero. You know? And it's funny, I went home and I thought about that, and I thought, that's a great domain name. So I got it. And what I want to do with that domain name, I want to highlight Black heroes, But that's after this first phase. But that's one of that's in the wings, in the waiting, to highlight Black heroes, past and present, that have done great things. And it'd be great to have someone come online on your show right now that's a hero, and we highlight these people.
Right. Well, and that's good that you say that. But what about the heroes, those unsung heroes, like local heroes? I think that would be really good. Now, I want to backtrack just a little bit. When I asked you about the GoDaddy, is that where you purchase? And you said yes. And that's not where you host, of course. But I wanted to, while we were on here, because while we are promoting Black business in Blacks in Business Radio, Scotty Reed, the creator of Black Talk Radio Network, he also does the same thing that GoDaddy does. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that. They can go to blacktalkmediaproject.org if they're interested in purchasing websites. He does that. He also builds web pages and just a plethora of things concerning the internet. He is a master. So I want to make sure that you know that too, because again, as we are promoting Black business, we want to also just make sure that we are using services where it's available.
Oh, absolutely. And I started with GoDaddy probably 20 years ago, and that's why I'm with them. But absolutely, I know that now there are a lot of Black-owned people and offering these services, and absolutely, I would highly recommend using Scotty Reed, his name, for purchasing your domain name.
Right. I actually just purchased two yesterday. Yesterday, 2 domain names. That's always the first step in when you're getting things together. It's like, okay, what do I want my domain name to be? And then you finally get it together, and then you look and you see it's taken, and it's like, oh my goodness. So
yeah, that's the hard part. But one thing I really would suggest for anyone, if you get a domain name, keep it as short as possible and as simple as possible, and something that's easy to remember. The reason is like mine is every.black. So as I add my email address, it's just Jimmy@every.black. But if I had a really long domain name, or something, that would make, then I would have to add all of that for my email address, or for people to remember all of that just to find me.
Right.
So whatever your domain name is, and it should be descriptive of what you're doing as best you can.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That's a good one, because so many times it's like you don't make that connection between the person, what they do, and then what their domain name is, and it's like, I don't get it, and that makes people lose business. Actually, it really
Yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Because I've seen people, they use acronyms for the domain name or their initials. I'm like, I'm not gonna remember that.
Right.
But
I don't know you like that. So why would I
yeah,
remember all this stuff? Yeah, it can be
right.
crazy. And people should really seek consultants. There are people that'll consult with you. We consult, if you all need help with coming up with your domain names or you need just some sort of informational feedback, just go ahead and email us at weareblacks with an S in business at gmail.com. We'd be happy to talk to you because these things that we're talking about with Mr. Jimmy Davies of Every Black Event, are very important because when you're starting your business, if you have the correct information, um, you'll be successful. But if you don't have the correct information, you can make many mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but there's some mistakes that just really don't need to be made. Um, Now, Jimmy, when you started building Every Black Event, did you have a team or were you by yourself?
It was by myself, and I've been in the computer field for years, for decades, and it was just something that I wanted to do. I'd always helped other companies develop their databases for the most part, or websites, or whatever. But I wanted to do something I really cared about. So the concept started with me. Since then, I've had a number of people, some through the Fuller Dudley group, that have been very helpful contributors, and just along the way, you meet folks where it just really fits, and has done different things. A few people helped me with the marketing of it. A few people helped me with the technology end of it, because no one knows everything. So in some cases, I needed to bring in some experts on different things to make the websites work. So yeah, it's been an experience, but initially the idea started with me. So once you start putting it out there.
I got a question for you, Jimmy.
Sure.
In reference to the building the databases, and I know, well, I'm assuming that these databases are specifically built for whatever companies need. You mentioned that this one company with the Christmas ornaments had quite a few different processes along the way. So I'm assuming that was a very tedious and time-consuming bill for you. What is the cost? What does that cost look like to actually have that database built?
Well, the cost can range, anywhere from $30 to $30,000, to be honest with you. Depends on how much time, and even more, actually, because the database that I worked on for the medical clinic, I was there for 6 years, literally working on a single database. And because in the medical field, things are constantly changing, especially over since the Obama administration, they really mandated that a lot of things became digital to become more efficient. And so medical practices and hospitals were forced to upgrade. So that a lot of times you couldn't read a doctor's prescription, but so everything became digital typed, and so it wasn't any confusion. The one example that I used for the guys that did ornaments, and that was a really unique situation. These three guys literally sitting around the Christmas table, they decided they're going to create a highly detailed Christmas ornament. And they did that, and they started producing these ornaments. They created them for the Biltmore Museum, Biltmore in Asheville, North Carolina. Henry Ford Museum was another customer. New York Yankees, another customer. Knights of Columbus was another customer. But they really hit it big when they created the official White House ornament and the official U.S. Congress ornament. So now you're talking a small business with three people sitting around a kitchen table to now they've got to produce, I think they have to produce 2 million Christmas ornaments for the White House, at $8 a piece wholesale, doubled for that retail. So now they've gone from a 3-person operation to an 80-person operation. And now they're creating, instead of 2 or 3 items, 500 items. They needed a database to track all of this, track all the orders, track all the things in production. And that's where I came in. So I worked with them for about 5 years because it was an ongoing process of updating the database constantly to accommodate all this growth. Now, most people don't need databases like that. Most of us just need a database to keep track of our customers and the things we've sent to them, our billing, maybe proposals that we're submitting to them, that type of thing. And now you're talking instead of tens of thousands, you're talking maybe a few hundred. Just depends on how much work you want into it. So they could range widely depending on how intensive the database is. I don't know. I hope that helps.
Yeah. I mean, right. Because
I'd say for a typical company, you want to talk maybe. I'd say $300 to $400 get you a really good database to manage your business.
Yeah, because in our business, we just integrated a Clover system in our business, and I actually got this idea off of a show that came on with Marcus Lamont, the Prophet. When you have a company that has thousands of items, you need some type of database system to operate that inventory-wise, because you're not going to commit to memory all these different things, and a lot of businesses don't have that, and a lot of businesses don't know that they need it for real. Go ahead.
That's very true. That's the biggest hurdle I find, is that people don't realize what they don't know, and once you show them, then the light comes on. And like I say, when you have thousands of items, you can't memorize all those things. No one can. But what we did, we created a color-coded system and a date system, so that anything that was urgent or past due was red and went right to the top, bright red. Anything that was coming close to the due date was yellow, and anything was on track was green. But, so it's a quick visual. You can look at the database instantly and see what needs my immediate attention. And that kind of thing would help any of us, like what do I need to take care of today because it's past due.
So you can actually customize the database to where, let's say you have an item in the store and we forget about it because we got thousands of items, but this item has not sold. And when you have thousands of items, you're not thinking about that one item that just hasn't sold in the last 3 months. Can you actually make the database alert you, given a time period of 15 to 30, let's say 30 days, and 30 days out, the database says this item has not sold or something to that degree?
Absolutely. That's exactly the kind of things that we would do. I've done in the past. And then on the other side of that is something maybe selling off the shelf really fast, and you're down to the last 5. Well, you don't want to wait till it's out before you realize you want to be notified maybe when there's the last dozen or so you can reorder whatever it is that you. But yeah, or if it's not moving, same thing. Or if it's expired, maybe whatever, you can have alerts built into your database to notify you of those things. And again, that's more than a basic spreadsheet list. It's not gonna work.
Well, let me suggest to you real quick. I'm sorry. There are, now that you're telling us this information, there's a lot of places that need a database. I mean, and I'm talking about grocery stores, okay? Because if they can be alerted to when something is expiring or whatever, that is going to save lives, because we know that salmonella and all kind of bacterial things develop in expired food. So if they had you creating their database, then they would be less at risk, I should say. One place particularly, there's a store here called Shop and Save. You should reach out to them. Oh my God. There is nothing worse than, I've had it happen a couple times, and not just at Shop and Save, but I've had it happen a couple times when I've gotten a product home and I've opened it and there's something disgusting in there, and turned the thing over, and sure enough, it was expired. Maybe that jar got pushed to the back or to the side and then got restocked. I don't know, but it happens. So if people have a comparable database that they can tend to, then I think that the public health would be less at risk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, I was with the medical clinic, and you're absolutely right for it, because they were performing surgeries, spine surgeries, and there are a number of things that need to be checked off before they could go into surgery. And so the database would, if everything wasn't checked off properly, all the tests weren't run, and the consent forms weren't signed, and x-rays weren't, if all those things weren't in place, then the database would allow you, alert you that, hey, this needs to be done. And not just the day of, but alert you days in advance so you can take care of it by the time the actual date of surgery comes around. So, yeah, but you're right. And so it doesn't, the principles work the same, whether it's surgeries or spoiled canned goods on a shelf. You still need a database to alert you about something, good or bad.
That's absolutely correct. Because if you are not informed about what it is that you're selling, how do you even know what you need or what your customers need? It just doesn't make sense. And people, I talked about this yesterday, and we had a show a week and a half ago dealing with systems. A database is a system. You definitely need systems in place to move forward in modern day technology. You have people still trying to use pen and paper, and it just doesn't work. I mean, you have to be like really, really, really good to make the pen and paper work. You have to have files, and I mean, who wants to deal with all that paperwork? I don't even like to deal with receipts. So if you don't have a database or some systems working for you, then you're just like really setting yourself up for failure.
Right. Yeah.
So what? One more
next question.
Oh, go ahead.
I got
Go ahead.
another question for you, Jimmy.
Okay.
So like ourselves, we just got this real nice Clover register that keeps the inventory and this, that, other. Now, does the database system that you create, can it be integrated with those type of cash register systems that you create?
I haven't done one specifically for a cash register system, but they can be. But yes, they can be, and then not only that, but also there's ways to integrate that information with your bookkeeping system as well. So which minimizes error, typing, transcribing errors. But the answer is yes. But I just haven't done what's called point of sale. I haven't done a point of sale database. I've done a lot of other types. I just haven't done that particular type of database.
Well, I think we probably need to get with you and anybody that's listening to this show. Maybe we want to, that's in retail, because that's my strong point of is business in the retail industry. And listening to you talk, my mind instantly got to working, because you want as easy as possible to be able on one machine without having to go to that computer system that's ringing up, to a laptop or to another system. You want to do as least work as possible, but get exactly what you need out of it. So if you can integrate, if you can work through the system, because that Clover system is a computer for real. So
yeah, I've heard of Clover, but I haven't actually used it. Yeah.
Right. So I would love to have us, network on that and see what we can come up with, because there are some things I'm not even sure how many things that Clover can do it within itself, but definitely to have somebody like your expertise that can consult with any retail chain that's already using that type of system. Maybe you could come up with something that even makes it a lot more simple, or fits the need more specifically for that type of business.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And actually what happens too is, like, once you figure out the solution for your business, then if I've got a website full of other entrepreneurs, there might be 5 or 10 others on there that's looking for the exact same thing, So if we figure that out for one, then there's ways for others to take advantage so that you don't have to figure the whole thing out like the second time, So yeah, I'd definitely like to talk to you about it.
Right.
Right. Right. Well, we'll definitely need to do a consultation. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about too is, I mean, there's so many every Black, but one close to my heart would be every Black returning citizen. And it's so great to hear um, we as the people being concerned about our incarcerated because we know it's modern day slavery, and when our people come out, if they don't have anywhere to turn, then that's why the recidivism rate is so high. And we definitely want to combat that. We want to be able to give our people resources. As I'm talking to you now, I reached out to Darlene Burke of 10 Toes In. She has an organization that supports the whole family of an incarcerated person that is coming out, and it's a wonderful program. I actually just sent the link over to her, and I hope that she reaches out to you and you all can connect because she's a wonderful lady out of California. But it's close to my heart, of course, because I mean, I think we all have had somebody in prison, but my son recently went to prison at 19 years old, and he'll be getting out this July. But, no matter what you think about the prison system, it is what it is. I mean, people want to think of it in a way, well, at least they have 3 hots and a cot and all this other crazy stuff. That prison system is not good for anybody. I mean, just mentally, they are stripped. There's just so many dynamics to that. I mean, if you want to hear about more, of course, go to blacktalkradionetwork.com. We have all kind of programs that deal with our incarcerated people and modern day slavery. But again, that particular page is just really dynamic, and we appreciate you for reaching out to the people getting out of prison. And it would be good if maybe you could start doing interviews, especially with those people who have been falsely accused. I know you've seen those stories. I just saw one recently where a man was in prison for 27 years and was it was a horrible story. Roland Martin actually covered it. I'll send that to you. I'll tag you in it on Facebook so you can see. But if you can start interviewing those people, or have somebody interview those people, that would be really, really good, because everybody needs to see somebody that is going through the same thing that they've gone through, especially our people, because for some reason we always have this persona that we want to keep up, or this facade. And in doing that, we don't get our needs met. So, if you could highlight people who have had these situations happen to them where they've been to prison, where they were falsely accused, or they were unfairly charged, all those things, and they actually got out, and they've been getting the help, and then also highlight those programs that are really helping people. That would be great.
Well, yeah, actually, I have to tell you this. One, I think I've heard of 10 Toes In. I'm pretty sure I've heard of that organization.
Okay.
But there's also another organization in this area that I wanted to mention. It's called Inmates to Entrepreneur. That's what it is. And basically, there's a successful company in RTP in Raleigh-Durham area. Had nothing to do with the prison system, but his business was successful. He wanted to start a program to help inmates, once they get out, to become entrepreneurs. And they've got a very successful business or organization. They don't even try to get them jobs because, a lot of people won't hire. So let's just start your own business day one. They've got 2 very highly successful stories. One is by the name of Lawrence Carpenter. Inmate, was in twice, I guess, for drug trafficking. And he now operates a janitorial service, has 60 employees, operates in 3 different states.
Wow.
Highly successful story. Another one is by the name of A.J. Ware. And A.J., I don't know what he did, but he was in prison, got out, and he likes racing cars, right? And so he raced his own cars, and he realized he had a hard time getting financing for his car, to race his car. And he finally got financing, but he realized the other people racing their cars, no one had financing. So he started a business. He gets you financing to have your race car, sponsor your race car, and he gets a percentage. Now he deals with anywhere from 3 million to 32 million per car to race your car in NASCAR. And then he gets presented a very successful business person in the Raleigh-Durham area. The other man I want to mention, his name is Alan Banks. He's out of Toledo area, and I did interview him. We did a webinar, and that's something I want to do with the other people on the Every Black family, is let's do webinars for them. I did about probably a dozen of them, and I wanted to get back to doing that. But Alan Banks is in Toledo, ex-offender, and he now has a partner, and they have a successful marketing business in the Toledo area. Very powerful story, and it's actually on my YouTube channel. But I need to.
I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. I was very active with it last year. To be honest with you, once I got involved with Fuller Dudley, I ran out of time of doing everything.
Oh my gosh.
But he's one of the people that I did interview. And that's one of the benefits of being part of the Every Black family. I wanted to use technology to promote and to help Black business owners and whether it's business owners of careers or make these reentry programs known so that people know where to go to get help.
Right.
Those things came to mind as you were talking. I was making notes because I wanted to mention all those successful people that have overcome the odds. One last guy to mention, his name is Dennis Gaddy, who's in the Raleigh area. He'd been in prison, I think, for like 5 years for embezzlement or something. But he decided, when he was in prison, he decided that even though he was in prison, he said he is not going to let prison be in him. And he came out and started an organization that maybe like a dozen years ago now. And his whole organization is in Raleigh, North Carolina, is to help other folks coming out of the system and to fight. He's also very active with the NAACP, with Reverend Barber. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's very active in this area. Reverend Barber out of Raleigh. And they lobby the politicians. He's got a program to help you, whether you need a job, you need training or housing, whatever it is you need, they take you and work with you and provide you that support emotionally and financially to get you back on track. So he's
That's
a very
wonderful.
Successful story here in the Raleigh area.
Wow. Now, are any of these people going to be at the event?
I don't know. I know that Dennis Gaddy's been invited. I don't know if he's going to be making it or not. But I do know that there are going to be some that are there, but maybe not the people that I mentioned. But I do know there's another fellow by the name of Johnny X. He's a member of the Nation of Islam, and he's written a book. And not only has he written a book, he came out, and last time I met with him, he was working on his doctorate. After he got out of prison, he continued went back to school and was working on his doctorate. He may have received it by now because that was about a year ago when I met
Johnny
him.
X. Okay.
Yeah, Johnny X, member of the Nation of Islam, and
okay.
I'm sure he'll be there. Dr. John Ray, who I think you met, didn't you? Meet Dr. Ray? SiSi?
I'm quite sure I did meet him.
Okay.
Now, do I remember what he looks like? Not right now, but yes.
He's a very close friend of Mr. Dudley's. And John Ray, and that's one thing that Mr. Dudley always did. He always helped people that were in prison. They would often go and visit with them, and when they come out, I'd help them get established with when he ran his Dudley Products company. His daughter runs it now.
Mm-hmm.
But he would help people get jobs and work with them, and he still does that. Still writes to people in prison, and I know he's given them books for them to study about entrepreneurship to encourage them to do something when they get out.
Mr. Dudley is everything, and we're going to segue from that. I mean, when I listen to him, I look at him. It's like the original entrepreneur. I mean, he is just there. Okay. Because we see all these gimmicks and scams now because of social media. There are people that are money hungry and they're doing all kind of things, and it's, I mean, for lack of a better thing to say, they're stepping on the necks of people and taking their money in order to become, quote, rich. Mr. Dudley is so set apart from all that. I mean, just reading that book with him and Mr. Fuller, that book that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm blown away, and it just really blessed me. And that's why I said, man, every year or every opportunity that I get to be in his presence to gain more knowledge, I just want to do it because he is such a dynamic entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much time we have. We spend a lot of time talking about computer stuff, but I'll be glad to tell you all about the gala that's coming up this weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, because, I
Okay.
could keep you on the phone forever, but no, let's go ahead and
Okay.
segue into Fuller Dudley Gala that is happening. Last year was the preliminary to this year's 80th birthday. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Okay, well, I'm going to lead off by saying that on my website, Every Black Entrepreneur, Every Black Speaker, I'm actually raffling off a VIP gala ticket. If you join my website, I'm raffling one off. I'll be raffling off on Saturday. And that's all this weekend. The Fuller and Dudley Foundation, named after S.B. Fuller, who mentored Joe Dudley. S.B. Fuller's passed away now, but he mentored Joe Dudley. And Joe Dudley has continued the practice of every week working with anyone that wants to become an entrepreneur on a weekly basis. S.B. Fuller started this 80 years ago, and Joe Dudley picked it up when S.B. Fuller passed away. And now Emilio Guevara, or Tony as we call him, has more or less picked up the torch from Mr. Dudley, even though Mr. Dudley is certainly still with us. But Tony has taken us to a new level of organizing these annual birthday celebrations to honor S.B. Fuller and Joe L. Dudley, and also to raise money to build a museum honoring African American entrepreneurs. They selected a company, an architect out of a black architect out of Charlotte, who has been working on the design of the museum. They're going to be showing the rendering of the museum this weekend in Winston-Salem. And it's actually the 3-day event. On Saturday, May 20th, there's what we call the 10,000 Black Entrepreneur Mastermind Business Group meeting. Basically, and it's free. The event on May 20th is absolutely free. But they've rented out the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. The doors open at 9 a.m. and the program starts at 11. They got some really powerful speakers that are becoming there. They've got, of course, Mr. Dudley. They've got Dr. Antipas Harris, who works with T.D. Jakes. They've got Ursula Dudley Oglesby, who is the daughter of Joe Dudley, who now runs the day-to-day operations for Dudley Beauty Corporation. Betty Clausen, she's the director of the Dudley Beauty College in Chicago. She's been with Mr. Dudley for 47 years. Dr. George Frazier of FrazierNet will be there. David Anderson, founder of Empowerment Radio Network. And if you haven't heard David Anderson, you don't want to miss him. Mr. Ramon Ray, I'm just going through the list here. He's an entrepreneur, producer, and global speaker. Dr. Jackie Mayfield, who owns 200 plus Black-owned income tax services, largest Black-owned income tax service in the country, 200 plus franchises. Deborah Bartlett, she's a media mogul out of the Bahamas. Lafayette Jones, who is a marketing genius. And if you heard of the Manwich or Orville Redenbacher, Lafayette Jones was behind those were some of his campaigns on a national scale. Charlie Scott of Scott Companies, he's into finance in the DC area. And then the last for that Saturday is Rick Mathis, and he created a film called The Film Black Friday. All of these speakers are going to be there on May 20th in a few days at no cost. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, and they're all coming to honor Mr. Dudley, and they're not charging anything. They just want to be a part of helping Black folks become entrepreneurs. Now, on the Sunday, May 21st, there's 2 events going on. Mr. Dudley was asked to be a part of a CD series called the 17 Biblical Principles of Success. Now, this CD series was put together by a man by the name of Phil Taylor. And basically, he interviewed 3 successful businessmen or women for every CD around biblical principles. For example, one biblical principle was on courage, or one was on joy, one was on wisdom. Mr. Dudley's on the wisdom CD. One is on kindness, love, giving. So there's 17 biblical principles, 3 people per CD. 17 of those people, most of them white, are coming to this event to talk about that particular principle and how they applied it to their business. That's going to be Sunday, May 21st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's only $39.95. And then you can sit in on whichever one you want. And again, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but there's like really highly successful people. And then Sunday afternoon, if you have a VIP package, there's a VIP reception from 4 to 6. The VIP, actually, they're no longer selling VIP tickets, but they are selling general admission tickets for $85 for the gala, black tie gala that evening. And the keynote speaker for the evening is one of the 3 black billionaires. My understanding is 3 black billionaires now: Oprah, Robert Smith, and Michael V. Roberts. Billionaire Michael V. Roberts will be the keynote speaker from 6 to 9 on May 21st in Winston-Salem. Live music, like I say, black tie. Last year, and SiSi was there last year, one of the, Charlie Scott gave Mr. Dudley a brand new Mercedes for his birthday. And so it's going to be the same thing, but actually it's going to be larger. They're expecting a lot more people this year than they had last year. And last year we had 500 plus at the Black Tie Gala alone and over 1,000 at the event on Saturday. And then to wrap it all up on Monday, May 22nd, there's a one-day leadership workshop, entrepreneurship leadership workshop led by Mr. Dudley and some of the other speakers. I don't know who the other speakers are going to be. But basically it's a classroom setting, and the topic of the class is how to take your business from $0 to $1 million. And there'll be, and that's $229 for that all-day class to be in with Mr. Dudley and some of these other well-known speakers. But I just don't know the entire lineup of the speakers for that Monday. So that's a mouthful, but
that is. I mean, I'm telling you, what you just said was enough. I mean, people, if you have not looked into this, please reach out to me at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. We also have a link on the Blacks in Business radio page. If you'd like to purchase tickets from there, you definitely can. Again, if you'd like to reach out, go to weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com or go to BIB Radio Facebook page, and you can go straight to the link and purchase your tickets there. Now, if you're here in St. Louis, Missouri, we've tracked it. It's only an 11-hour drive. So you could drive. You could drive to North Carolina and go ahead and indulge in the festivities. I mean, it is well worth it. How many times do we sit around and after an event has passed, we said, oh, I wish I would have gone to that. Well, you don't have to wish. Just go ahead and get in the car and drive. I'm telling you, it's well worth it. You will be amongst entrepreneurs who have your best interest at heart. You're speaking to one right now, Mr. Jimmy Davies. I met him there, and he is a wonderful entrepreneur, and he is definitely ready to meet you. So if you would like to reach out to Jimmy about Every Black Event or any other of his email addresses, you can definitely do so. Jimmy, how can they reach out to you again?
Jimmy at every.black is the easiest way. Jimmy at every.black. My phone number is 919-265-8045. That's 919-265-8045. And I failed to mention, too, the website for this event is capitalismisfreedom2017.com, just all run together. Capitalismisfreedom2017.com. And you also will find all the information that I shared with you about that. I do know for a fact that people are coming from literally around the world this time. We've got people coming from Canada, all throughout the states. There's even a contingency coming from Brazil because Mr. Dudley has a beauty school in Brazil. So they're coming for this event this time. The word's gotten out.
Right, right. And the hotel block for the Marriott, do you know if that's sold out?
I don't know, but it is the Marriott is where the Winston-Salem Marriott is where they can, because we have to actually book the entire hotel, and I don't know if it's sold out or not. Yeah, they reserved the entire hotel.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, yes, the Winston-Salem Marriott. That's where. But you'll see all that information if you go to the link again.
Yeah.
Go to the website. What did you say? Capitalism.
Capitalism is freedom 2017.com.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Jimmy, we're not going to keep you any longer because the day is going, and yes, we have to get to work. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again really, really soon. And update us with anything that you have going on with your business. This has been BIB Radio with SiSi Harry and Brother Robert 11X, and we have been joined by Mr. Jimmy Davies. You all have a great rest of the day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
The Black Talk Radio Network is made possible in part with help from the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit engaged in the production and distribution of independent digital black media. Find out more by going to blacktalkradionetwork.com or blacktalkmediaproject.org and look for the menu tab, Crowdfunding Black Media. Black Talk Media Project, helping to provide you with new black media for the new millennium. You are tuned in to Black Talk Radio, new black media for the new millennium.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. You are listening to BIB Radio, and we are housed on Black Talk Radio Network. We air every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Today, May 18th, we will be doing a show with Miss Marchelle Tigner, and she will tell us about all of the wonderful things that she is doing with her company. So if you stay tuned, you will hear about her business as a firearm instructor and what led her to do so. So feel free to listen to us again every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, so we are going to get started here with the programming. Do I have Brother Robert on the phone with me?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, as you all know, or if you don't know, if you're listening for the first time, we are BIB, which stands for Blacks in Business. We are an entrepreneurial show focused on promoting Black business. So today I have a book that we got from the SCORE Network, downtown St. Louis, Missouri. And there's a book that is called 50 Tips for Business Owners. And I want to read a little bit of that book before we get started with Ms. Marchelle here. So I won't read all 50, but a few I think we could use these today. So this one is dealing with leadership. It says, leadership is essential to your success. Be a visionary, a strong communicator, and an inspiration to your team. Have another one on leadership. What is the inspiration behind your business? Share your vision and your mission with your employees, and they'll be motivated to help you achieve it. And then there's a quote here by Christine Osborne, owner of Wonderworks. It says, Bud helped me create a development plan to empower employees. The business really is a melding of people, ideas, vision, and passion. Okay, so another one says, set 3 goals for your business: potential, possible, and practical. Have employees aim for the potential, point the leaders to your achievement of the practical. Okay, last one we're going to read today, again with leadership. Spend more time, working on your business and less time working in your business. delegate tasks to trusted employees. Both they and you will benefit. Okay, those are great tips. And I think we need to be inspired every day as entrepreneurs because we sometimes forget. We forget not to work in our business, but we need to work on our business. And in order for you to actually work on your business, like the book was saying, you need to delegate. And we did a show on that a couple weeks back. Very important to delegate tasks in order to move forward. So work on that today in your business. Work on delegating tasks so you can stay focused on what your business is all about. Okay, again, so we have Miss Marchelle here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So I was scrolling through Facebook like I always do daily. It's like my life. And I came across a video of yours talking about you teaching Black women or women of color firearm training. Now, I like to say Black people because I feel like people of color as a whole, they're taken care of. And when you categorize people of color, Black people are lumped in there, but then we still don't end up getting our needs met. So for this show's purposes, I'm going to reference Black women. Is that okay with you?
That's perfectly fine.
Okay, perfect. So tell us about yourself.
So, my name is Marchelle Tigner. In the gun community, a lot of people call me Tig. That's a nickname. But I'm the owner of Trigger Happy Firearm Instruction, and I started the company last November. And basically, the reason why I started the company was because I saw that there was a gap in instruction for Black women and Black people in general. I noticed when I was working at a gun range in Atlanta that there were other instructors coming in to teach people. There were gun organizations and companies marketing to every other group except for ours, every other demographic except for us. And I found that to be a problem. I realized that, we have just a right as anyone else to exercise our Second Amendment right, to feel safe, to be able to defend and protect ourselves in our communities. So I took it upon myself to be the change that I wanted to see, and I went and got my firearms instructor certifications, and I started my LLC in November, and we held our first class this February, and we've been teaching pretty much every weekend since then.
Wow, that is excellent. Now, you say you just started basically in February. Your first class was in February. When I look at that video, it looks like you have been operating for years. So that is amazing to me. And again, congratulations. So let me ask you this. Now, with our people, again, Black people, what do you think the biggest stigma is between us and getting firearm training? I mean, as a whole, like not really, I don't want to differentiate men and women. I mean, as a whole, what is the stigma there?
The stigma is definitely that if you own a firearm or have one in your house, you're more prone to commit violent acts. TV and media will show the stereotypes that Black people with firearms are criminals or thugs. And, rarely are we seen in the media as people who are just legally and responsibly owning firearms just like everyone else. So that's one of the stereotypes that I'm working to break down, and one of the stigmas attached to getting training. A lot of people in our community think that if I have a gun in the house, then, someone can come in, they can steal the gun, or someone in my house, they have a tool now to create a crime, or, that's simply not true. There's, there's no merit to those ideas. And like I said, there's stereotypes. And that's what we've been fed, and we've kind of grown to believe these things and feed into these stereotypes, but it's not true.
I think that you are telling the absolute truth because when you talk about even owning a gun, people just really go there. They feel like it's something criminal behind it, and it's because our very being and presence has been criminalized when it comes to firearms. But it's very good that you're doing this because education is key for us to open up a new understanding. And I again commend you for doing that. Now, when you talk about the stigma and what is focused on concerning us, I've looked on Facebook, and I know that you have seen it. I see little white children at age 4 to 7 shooting guns.
Right.
And you don't hear anything really bad about that. And if you scroll through the comments, you see people cheering them on, way to go, good job, and all that. But if we got on there to show our children being trained that way, it would totally be something else. Don't you agree?
I definitely agree. Even at the range I worked at, there were white children there. There were Hispanic children there even, and no one batted an eye. No one said anything. But when the black parents would come and they would ask, okay, well, what ages do you allow people to shoot here? And we would say, oh, as young as 12. They would kind of look at us like, really? Like, are you sure? My 17-year-old wants to shoot, and I was, hesitant about that. But 12? Like, are really people bringing their children here? And I say, yes, I've had, honestly, done private lessons with children as young as 5 years old, and parents have told me they teach them young because it's a necessary skill, not only for self-defense, but for things like hunting. That's something that we kind of got away from, in this modern society, but getting food,
Survival.
right, can you survive? And we're not teaching our children that because, again, that stigma is there, and we're afraid, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want my child to be seen as a target, children in real life are being shot, and they have toy guns or don't even have guns, and they're
Mm-hmm.
being shot out in the street. So imagine them having a real firearm, and I don't want them to be targeted. I'm not a parent yet, but, as a community, we're fearful for our children.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Yes, the pain is
lady,
real. Mm-hmm.
lady, there was a post that recently I just shared on Facebook with a brother and his two children. He had a young man and a young lady, and he was asking them what type of gun this is.
Wait,
And I
Robert, can you allow yourself to be amplified a little bit? Can't really hear you. It's kind of far away.
don't really hear me. Okay, well, is this better?
That's much better. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the video on Facebook was of a brother that had trained his children to know exactly what type of gun that they had on the table. They took the clip out the gun, put the clip in the gun. He said, "Now get in your stands." They got in the stands with the gun. Now they knew all about the gun at a young age. The comments, as you said, as the both of you all said earlier, were very negative. A lot of the comments were negative. Why would he be teaching these children to know how to use guns? And again, as you bear witness to what you say, white folks have been doing this for years with their children. We have to do these type of things. If you believe in bearing arms, why wouldn't you train your child to know what to do with a gun? On the news just the other day, yesterday, two children in the last couple of days have been shot by firearms in their home. So what you're doing, sister, is very, very necessary and very needed. If you are the kind of person that wants to bear arms, you should be training. Black people should be training their children. If you got arms in your house, teach them.
Right.
So I just want to share that. Yeah.
I think it really helps with preventing those accidental shootings. I mean, I get tired of watching the news and seeing, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old plays around with gun in the house and they accidentally shoot themselves. And that's a huge problem for me. And a lot of parents, their resolve is to lock their gun up, completely lock it up in a lockbox at the top of their closet. And I always ask them, if someone breaks into your house at 4 o'clock in the morning, how are you going to get to that lockbox? How are you
You're
going to
not.
get that weapon? You're not going to be able to get to it. You're not going to be able to defend yourself or your family. And, basically you're sitting duck. So I say, you know your child, their maturity level. Speak to them about it. Don't ignore the conversation or say, "Hey, I have this gun here. Don't touch it." I mean, ignoring an issue like that is not the answer. It's almost like sex education. If you don't talk to
Yes.
children about sex, they're going to be curious and they're going to go figure it out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with
Mm-hmm.
firearms. You can't have that firearm in your house and not tell them what it is and what happens.
Absolutely. I was just going to say the same thing about sex education, and people really, really have gotten away, and that's because we're adults and we kind of move away from the sensitivity and the alertness and just the pureness of childhood and how smart they are. I was watching a video just this morning, and they were showing a girl, I think she was 4, and she knows 7 languages. Okay? 7 languages. Why does she know 7 languages? Because her parents started with her early. She's 4, okay? But our people, we are trying to hit the quan, do the nay, and all kind of silly things that will not equal to anything. There's a zillion children hitting the nay and doing the quan. But what if you taught your child lessons on firearms, gun safety early? Like Marchelle said, at their level, what if you taught them, like, okay, this is a gun, and you just started them out at the level that they are? It's not he's 7 months old and you put an AK-47 in his hand. Nobody's saying that. But what if you started them out at their level? Everything needs to be done at their level. And then when the time comes, they're appropriately educated on what this thing is about. I have a stove in my house, okay? But I'm not worried about my 4-year-old going up to the stove and suddenly burning the house down. Why? Because he knows. I taught him, and things are done in a proper way so that this is not a hazard. It's the same thing with guns. We need to really go back and teach what we need to teach concerning firearms for our children. I mean, it's just it's simplistic. Get out of this brainwashing that the media does to you, even about your own people. I mean, if you sit down and you defragment for a couple days, you will really notice how the media is simply brainwashing you against your own people, which that alone doesn't allow you to move forward in your thinking. So God only knows what you think about guns. It's time to come off the silliness.
I completely agree. I mean, and there's so much false information going around, especially about firearms. You know, even the terminology about firearms and what certain things are and how you hold them and the safety of firearms is not taught, and it's false. You know, children especially are looking at movies, they're looking at TV and video games, and what you see on TV and movies and video games is not real in real life. Is not real, and they need to know that, hey, there's no reset button, there's no start over. When someone dies in real life, they don't come back like on TV or a video game, and
Right.
That's what they think. So if you never tell them anything otherwise, they're going to think that, and they're going to think it's a game or a toy.
Right. And you know, it's so crazy that you mentioned that, because I didn't even think about these stupid video games, because people will let their children play these video games. What is that thing that yes, grand. I can't believe that game. I mean, as an adult, for the first time, what was it, a year and a half ago, I saw that game being played by an adult, and I was blown away. I was like, how in the world are you playing this thing? Do you understand what you're doing, how you're taking your vibrational level down? This is not some stress reliever for you to be watching this stuff and shooting some fake guns and running over people. I mean, this is the nonsense that we get caught up in instead of the reality. The reality is guns for those that want, I mean, I believe in guns. Guns for those that want them, you know, you need to be educating yourselves. Even if you don't want them, I think this is something that there should be education on from day one when you have a child. Go ahead, because you might change your mind one day. You might decide that you want a gun. So therefore, it's not a shocker all of a sudden. But if you start the education with your children early, like everything else, then, hey, you won't be in error. But these stupid video games that you're allowing them to shoot, I don't even believe in toy guns, to be honest with you, because I think that doesn't provide a reality perspective. It just doesn't. I don't believe in children running around shooting water guns, and that comes from my mom. She didn't believe in that nonsense. So if you're providing a real live perspective and education for your children, they will have a head start. Just like language, just like anything else, you will have a head start for them, and they deserve it. You didn't have it, so why wouldn't you want to give them something that you didn't have? Forget the newest Jordans and the newest whatever. I don't even know. I'm not hip no more. But forget all that newest stuff And educate them. That is the best gift you can give your children is education. Okay. So guns and firearm education is very important. Now, for me personally, my first time was my brother. He was in the military. He took me to the gun range, and it was amazing to me, and I felt very empowered. I mean, I just felt really good about that. Now, you were in the military also, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So, how was that experience for you?
It was probably one of the greatest things I've done ever in life was joining the military. I'm an Army brat, so my parents were military, my father, my sister, my brother, and then I joined. I was my mom's third Army child.
Okay.
So, my lifestyle, my way of thinking, and my view on the world was extremely different from I think my peers who weren't traveling and living from base to base. And I think it's a good thing because it opened my eyes up and I realized how things were in other places. And I got a world view. So then when I joined the Army and, of course, continued to travel and continue to learn, I learned how to survive in the wilderness. I learned how to, find fresh water, shoot different weapon systems, and stay safe. I think it's some vital skills that, everybody should know in their own household. There's some things that just everybody needs to know. You need to know how to read a map. You need to know how to find water. You need to know how to start a fire. These are things that people aren't being taught anymore, and we're so comfortable. It's probably part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today is because I was in the military. I learned that discipline and those skills that I want to continue to teach. I feel like what's the point of having knowledge or skill if you don't share it?
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. And more importantly, the survival training. People wouldn't even know what to do if the lights went out for like 2 days or whatever. So this survival training is very important. I mean, on the most basic levels, survival training is important. I don't know if you have thought about implementing that into your program, but because you have had the training, that is an entrepreneurial suggestion that I would make to you. Because as these times are changing, people are about to be a lot less comfortable.
Right.
And if you can educate them on this, they would definitely be a little bit more prepared than what they are today. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I wish I could clone myself.
Yeah.
I wish there were like 5 of me because one of me would definitely be dedicated to just survival. We would probably just do camps, weekly camps for adults, children. It's summertime. People have a little bit more free time. But it's something that I do plan on doing. I just, wanted to start off with the firearms because that's what I do as an instructor. This is my full-time job. But I definitely plan on branching out. We're also doing self-defense classes here in Atlanta on June 3rd. So we have to teach, it's a full spectrum of safety. It's not just how to shoot a gun. It's how to fight, how to use a knife, how to survive, how to prevent yourself from getting in that situation, like situational awareness. People aren't aware of our surroundings anymore. We're kind of like zombies walking around, especially my generation. I'm 25. I see
Mm-hmm.
my age walking around on their phones, and they're not aware of what's going on. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
make yourself a victim. And
You are right. You are so right.
right, you see it all the time, right? People are like, walking around heads down, no one's looking around or behind them or in their
Mm-hmm.
car on the phone, right? And they're not
Mm-hmm.
paying attention, and that's how you make yourself easy prey. The predators aren't going anywhere. But what I do want to stop us from being easy prey.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that. I had a lady customer came in and talked to me the other day, and she told me that she was accosted and she was kidnapped while she was walking down the street. And I said, "Well, how did this happen?" She said, "Well, I just had my earphones in and I was walking
Right.
and this woman is like 70 years old." And I was like, "What are you talking about? You're walking with your earphones and looking down." I mean, that's not even something that somebody that age would normally be doing. But
Right.
nevertheless, that's what she was doing. And she said some man put her in the truck, took her off, and she didn't know what his plans were. She said, but the only thing that saved her was she said, she told him she left her wallet in the gas station. And he was like, sure, sweetie, I'll take you back there to get it. So he took her back there to get it, and that was her way out. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So, I mean, it happens. It does happen. And people always think, well, it's not going to happen to me, but it could happen to you. And what advice would you give to women who are interested in getting trained and they're in Atlanta? I'm not sure if you're going to hold like a boot camp where people can fly in and have like a month or 3 weeks or something like that of training. But if you do that, of course, let us know, because we'd be happy to create a commercial for you so that it can be aired worldwide, nationwide. And then, yes, if you have something going on now, if people are able to sign up, please let them know how they can do that.
Yes, so my website is www.triggerhappypanda.com. I have several classes on there. The next class we're doing is actually this weekend, May 20th. We're doing a Women's Handgun 102 class. That still has slots available. I have another weekend of classes next weekend on May 27th. So there are still slots available for that, and that's actually a co-ed class from 2 to 4 p.m. And then June 3rd, like I was saying before, we're doing a self-defense class. Dexter Peggins and I, he's a really good friend of mine, and he's also a firearms instructor. We're doing a women's self-defense class where you learn how to fight, and, there's a man there that you can size yourself up against and see, what tactics or what you need to do to defend yourself against a man. And then my last class scheduled here in Atlanta is June 4th for the 101 and 102. That's also on my website. And then June 10th. June 10th is going to be our first concealed carry class where we're learning how to draw from a holster. So that'll be our first one here. And then I'm starting the tour I'm so excited about. That's also on my website. July 1st is our first city, Orlando. And then July 16th we'll be in Sacramento. So I have a lot of classes going on, a lot of things scheduled right now, but I'm trying to be everywhere and also try to reach out to other instructors and empower everyone else to help me with this mission of teaching 1 million women.
Well, I've got an idea for you right now. I've got an idea. Okay. So we're in St. Louis, and we would love for you to come to St. Louis, okay? If you look up Arch Grants, okay, there is an organization here. The deadline is May 22nd. So if you can perhaps look at the Arch Grant, maybe you can duplicate yourself here in St. Louis. You would simply have to make your headquarters here. But I mean, that doesn't really mean anything. You just make your headquarters here and you can operate around the country, around the world, or whatever. But they're giving $55,000.
Oh, wow.
So what if you can do that, not only in St. Louis, but other cities and municipalities, if they have something available for startups, because I think you're still considered a startup, that would be excellent for you to duplicate yourself, because what you're doing is very needed in these times. I know I need more training. I know that I need more training. I mean, I'm not comfortable. I need more training. So if there's any way that we could help you, definitely reach out to us. You have my information. Robert, do you have anything else you want to talk to Marchelle about?
Can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. Yeah, in reference to what you're saying, SiSi, about the headquarters here in St. Louis, what type of square footage, sister?
I can't hear. I can't hear you. It's very low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, sister, what type of square footage in reference in real estate would you need to actually put on the event in different cities?
So as far as classroom size, I mean, right now we're in a small classroom. It's probably about 500 square feet. And I break the classes up into smaller segments, like 10 women at a time, so they get more hands-on training. So the classroom, honestly, does not have to be that large. The issue is finding a range that's willing to allow me to hold my class there. So I try not to have the class and the range portion in two separate places. I try to have it all in one place. Most ranges have a classroom. The difficulty is that a lot of ranges teach their own classes. So for them to have an outside instructor come teach at their range, they kind of feel like it's, maybe, being a conflict of interest, or, I might end up taking their clients or something like that. So that is the biggest issue I find with trying to find ranges to host my classes.
Okay. Well, we definitely need to talk off air because maybe something that we can help you with. I'll send you an email concerning all this, but I definitely want to help promote what it is that you're doing, not that you're trying to do, because you're definitely doing it, and we so appreciate it. Do you have any last words for the listeners?
Just go check out my website, triggerhappypanda.com. You can support the movement there and follow the tour there. So just keep me uplifted. The naysayers are doing what they do, but just keep sending me positive energy, and I sincerely appreciate all of the support.
Oh, absolutely. We love the fact that you are so young and you're an entrepreneur and you are making it happen. Congratulations and best blessings to you. And again, we'll contact you a little bit later. I'll just contact you by email concerning some things because I really want you to be able to expand and help more Black women do what they need to do, okay?
Thank you so much. And I look forward to speaking with you again.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody. That was excellent. I just get so excited when I hear about she is 25 years old. What were you doing at 25, Robert?
25 years old, I probably will. I was an entrepreneur. At
Okay.
25.
Okay.
It was.
I can't hear you for some reason. It's so low.
I don't know why that is. I'm on my speakerphone, but normally I don't have a problem with.
Oh, you're on the speakerphone. That's why.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Now does that sound much better?
That is way better. Absolutely. And I want to make sure that everybody can hear what you're saying. So at 25, you were already an entrepreneur.
Yes, I was wrestling with with life itself at 25. Trying to find the right road to take. And that's where I was at 25. I knew that entrepreneurship was something that I needed to be doing, but I was still in the streets, and so I was still trying to find myself. But to hear these young people today, it just calls you to action to really make sure that you can do all that you can do to help them to not ever have to go backwards in their progress. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, it makes you feel great to hear that kind of story. Their sister is doing it.
She really, I mean, I am so proud of her. Like she's my child for some reason. I'm sitting here because I didn't know she was 25. But just the options that are out there, as far as just totally not doing anything to just totally not doing anything to kind of doing something and acting like you're doing something and working a job. She is a darn LLC. She's an entrepreneur, and that is so big. And, I was an entrepreneur at 22. Well, I was an entrepreneur at 13, really. But my first business, I was 22. So at that point, I know that, I had to become an entrepreneur. I had to. I don't think she had that had to moment, which really speaks measures. She didn't speak to us about some kind of crazy situation she got in and she had to start a business. She had a certain mindset. I'm not really sure if, but she did say she was a military child, and that's totally different. Those children, for the most part, the ones that I know, they have been raised in a certain way. You do still see some wild ones, but like if her dad was high ranking, there was probably a different expectation of her, which is great, wonderful. I'm super proud of her. I'm looking forward to helping her expand, however that is. I'm looking to take her class myself. I'm sure she teaches men too, so we probably need to figure that one out. Yeah, we need to figure, because you were just talking about getting some kind of training. So I think that now we found a Black trainer that we can go to and just help her get her word out there and just keep doing it. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm really proud of her. Goals are everything. I mean, with our young people, because it's just so much nothingness out here that they could be involved in, and to see them succeeding and to see them being hungry in succeeding is really, really a blessing. Because think about it, if she's right here at 25, where will she be at 45?
Exactly. That's 20 years down the line. That's a lot of time.
Right. I don't know what her long-term goals are, and I mean, I guess we could ask her that later, but I just see a bright future for her, because she's starting at a philanthropic level where she wants to help her people have awareness. She wants to educate, and she sees the deficit in education. She sees the mind control that goes on in the media concerning us and firearms, and that is so important, because a lot of people feel like a gun is Satan, and it's not necessarily that at all. But everything,
guns don't kill people.
People kill people.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
right.
People.
Right.
Yeah, it's the people that get the guns and don't think.
Right. They don't think, and they're acting very what do you call it? Impulsively. Yeah. Impulsively. Right. Yeah. Because the gun is supposed to be for protection, not for you to just go out and act like you Rambo or whatever. There needs to be proper education. And if you all are interested in any type of firearm training, I would say definitely reach out to her. We have posted on Facebook, but we need to put it in BIB Radio. Did you already put it in BIB Radio, Robert?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay. Well, her information is in BIB Radio for everyone to see. If you are in the Atlanta area, if you'd like to fly into Atlanta, or if you'd like to reach out to her, again, it's called Trigger Happy Firearm Instruction. Okay. And it says for more information, www.triggerhappypanda, PANDA.com, or you can email her at Marchelle, which is spelled MARCHELLE, at triggerhappypanda.com. It's kind of like Michelle, but Marchelle. Marchelle at triggerhappypanda.com. Well, she's a real powerhouse, and I'm very proud of her. Best blessings to her and her business. I'm just excited right there. But we talked to, and it is probably going to be put together. We talked to Jimmy Davies yesterday about the Dudley Gala and event that's going on. So I actually got email today of, I guess they put together a commercial. I was like, oh, go ahead. They put together a commercial. So I want to play that commercial as we outro, because, people need to know about this Dudley Gala. They need to, decide to be the best that they can be in their business. And you can't do that unless you have training. And Mr. Dudley is one of the best. I mean, he is the OG. If you haven't looked up Mr. Joe Dudley on YouTube, you need to go ahead and do that. Listen to what he has to say concerning entrepreneurship. He's one of those ones that started from nothing. I believe we played one of his YouTubes a couple weeks ago, but he started from nothing. They told him he was going to be, what did they call it? What is that term they use? Because every time I laugh. Him and Les Brown. Uneducable.
Right. Uneducable.
And mentally retarded. Yes. I don't know what kind of term these white people made for this DSM, but that was what he said, just like Les Brown. So it tells you the propaganda has been there from day one. They have been trying to mess up our children. It's just sick. But this man,
That was the same thing that when I was in high school, I heard the same thing because of my lack of performance and this, that, and the other. And that's what they said. Well, you're probably not going to succeed in life. I was like, whatever.
That's brainwashing. It's just pure brainwashing. I mean, I was told that in college. She was like, "Oh, you're just not going to finish." And it's like, well, you don't understand. I'm at a level beyond you. You're working in a job. Are you serious? I'm just here just to get some nuggets. I'm not here trying to find myself. I already know who I am. I've been in business for years. But that's what they teach them to do. I mean, it's an underlying and overt brainwashing. But it's all right because we as a people have survived. So let's get this on the air where you hear Dr. Joe L. Dudley Sr. Birthday celebration this coming weekend, okay? If you need information about this, please email us at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. But let's get this started because, wow, that hour went by pretty quick, didn't it? Okay, hold on really quick, everybody.
Overcome the challenges of starting or growing a business at the second annual Entrepreneur Empowerment Symposium. Capitalism, the only true pathway to freedom. Come join thousands of entrepreneurs and inspiring entrepreneurs Saturday, May 20th at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. Join us for the Joe Dudley Sr. 80th birthday celebration and Fuller and Dudley Entrepreneurship Museum Fundraiser Gala, where billionaire Michael V. Roberts will deliver a powerful keynote address. You need to be there.
There you have it. And Michael V. Roberts, oh my goodness, he is a billionaire. Michael V. Roberts, he is an entrepreneur. He is a local from St. Louis, Missouri. He actually owns a motel called the River Walk, not motel, I'm sorry, hotel called the River Walk in Detroit, Michigan. He also teaches you how to own hotels and motels. He has a course that he invites you to every year in Florida, I believe it is. I haven't been there yet, but if you haven't heard Michael V. Roberts and you haven't gotten any of his books, you definitely want to do that. The first day of this convention is free. That's like, wow, the first day is free. The first day is Saturday. So wherever you are, if you can drive or fly to North Carolina, you need to do that. At least go to the free day. I mean, you can't, the free day. Just let us know if you're interested. Also, let's see, from St. Louis, if you listeners are from St. Louis, it is only 11 hours away. That's nothing. You can drive 11 hours. Just get up early in the morning and drive, and then bam, you will be there. And I'm just telling you, you will enjoy yourself because I was there last year and I vowed to go again this year. Last year, Minister Farrakhan was there. They had several other speakers, and it was just a beautiful engagement with Black entrepreneurs. So if you need more information, let us know. We are blacksinbusiness@gmail.com, and we will give you all the information that you need, okay? But in the meantime, we are going to end this session of Blacks in Business Radio. We thank you all for listening, and we hope that you will join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, every Thursday for Blacks in Business Radio. Robert, do you have any outro words that you want to give to the people?
Stay black, stay strong, do for self, and keep supporting one another to success.
All right. I heard that. Also listen to blacktalkradionetwork.com. Also support blacktalkmediaproject.org. If you're interested in having your own radio program because you like what we're doing here and you think that you want to get into that, reach out to us. If you want to have your own network where you invite others on to create their individual radio programs, reach out to us. We can help you with that for a very minimal fee. If you have a podcast that you would like to stream through Black Talk Radio Network, let us know. We can help you with that. Just reach out to us at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. Okay, people, we thank you for listening to us. Best blessings to you and have a great rest of the week. All righty.
All right, y'all.